As the leader of the Booner Path, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Iafrate and Booner. It's Thursday, January 15th. We march on with the Lions coordinator search. We got a packed show today. We got a new name that has entered the mix, which will be interesting. We have our good friend Sam joining today. Flannel Sam, the one, the only. Talking ball with him for pretty much the entire second hour, so that'll be a fun time. We'll get Flannel's thoughts on everything. And you know what we're doing today as well? Our top 5 Lions offensive coordinator options. We have our top 5 names. Me and Boone each kind of came up with our own list. You're going to see similar names on there, different orders based on kind of the guys we're interested in. So we'll get to that later in the show as well. But a lot of things got to happen. I mean, we have our first domino. This is good news for Lions fans. The first domino has officially fallen. The biggest domino by far in the coaching cycle. John Harbaugh is with the Giants.
Yes.
So you had like 4 teams waiting on John Harbaugh. Probably every team, actually, to be honest.
And I will say, me and you did me and you put our GM hats on, and we said if we were the GM of each specific organization, this is the move we would do. We are 1 for 1 officially. Yeah. So hey, pat on the back to us. Congrats, Boone and Jeff.
Honestly, the GM so far one I feel good in is our Jesse Minter to the Ravens. I think that's like the second most confident I feel.
Really? Hold on, let me look at the list. I have the list here because I want to, as the cycle goes on. I was like, I want to keep track of how close we were. My second most confident one. Wow, yeah, I don't know. Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons, maybe.
There's some good ones. There's a couple on here that I like too. The ones I'm not as much as like Browns, Cardinals. Those ones are hard to pick. Raiders.
Yeah, I don't know who wants the Browns job. I still I'm so locked into it like that. I just look at it and I go like, who actually is like, I'll take that job.
Yeah, there was. I saw this. This meme on X. It was like when Mike McDaniel's coaching the Browns outdoors in week 6 and realizes he should have been coaching Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson. And it's like him with like,
saw that
his glasses are like fogged up and he's tucked up with the play call thing in Cleveland with little Mike.
Rumored to get fired again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take about the Browns. Dude, actually, I feel like a lot of fans are going to get mad at me and hate me for this. They should move the franchise. Like they should pack up the Cleveland Browns, maybe change the name, colors, everything, and do like what the Seattle Supersonics did with the Oklahoma City Thunder and just move to a different city. Like, I don't know. I don't even know. Move to almost said Nashville. Nashville already has a team. What's a good city that needs a team and just doesn't have a team yet?
I was thinking about this. Because I thought about this before because I was thinking about I think Oklahoma doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Would Oklahoma though get like a?
They love the Sooners.
Yeah, but it's like a college town. Oklahoma. I've been to Oklahoma before. My parents back in the day lived in Oklahoma. I don't know if maybe it is.
Hey, what about the out in Oregon?
Oregon, yes, Oregon. Yeah, actually, get another West Coast team going Portland? Or something. Yeah, how about that? Maybe add like a 3rd or 4th Ohio team. Just keep adding Ohio. Oh no, they're Ohio team. No.
Yeah, they got Cincinnati and Cleveland already. They don't need.
Yeah, that's on me. Hand up.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go look. I want to pull the map up. Like, what city needs one?
I would say the ones that probably most deserving. I would say like Portland or like Oklahoma City. San Diego,
like a Utah team.
Utah Mormons just rock out there.
Yeah, because Utah's been getting a couple. They got the hockey team. St. Louis would be another great one.
JMO would get forced to trade there.
Would I get killed for saying get a Canadian team, the Toronto NFL team?
Now you're going too far.
They want to go international.
No.
Sorry, that's on me, dude.
I think now you have to look at the market too. I doubt if you move an NFL team to Toronto, I think they're. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
All right. Well, Grand Rapids. I mean, what's the population of Cleveland compared to Cleveland?
Oh, it's big. It's bigger than Grand Rapids, right?
Cleveland is 365,000.
Dude, what the hell? How
Are
many
you
are in
sure?
Grand Rapids? Like 150,000, I'll guess.
It's not that big of a difference. It's 350,000 in Cleveland. It's 200,000 in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, but Cleveland's a. I don't know. I don't know. I doubt Michigan is big enough. Well, I guess Cleveland has too, so I guess I couldn't say that. But Cleveland's a bigger city. I doubt they would do that shit. But I'm with you. Borderline, I'm with you. I think.
Green Bay has 200,000, just like Grand Rapids could.
But it's like you ever see Lambeau? It's like around the area. That's all they got is they love football out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they just got. It's like the Packers is the Lambeau Stadium's neighboring it's a neighborhood. You got people. You can walk.
Grand Rapids. Why not?
Yeah. By the way, so John Harbaugh's with the Giants. That's the first domino to fall. This thing's going to get a lot easier, folks.
Yep.
Okay, now we have this is how GMs are, GMs and owners, but mainly owners are judging this. They're kind of weighing in on this stuff. They're waiting on John Harbaugh. The guy just got $100 million to coach the Giants. So, and Todd Monken's going with them. So Todd Monken's off the board when it comes to offensive coordinator options. He's off the board. So now that John Harbaugh's off the board, now you're going to see teams pivot and go, okay, we had John Harbaugh as number one. We thought we had a chance. Who's our clear-cut number two guy? You're going to see those guys start inking deals. Now you're going to see, in my opinion, the Titans, the Falcons, even the Dolphins. You're going to see these teams start signing guys. I think in the next probably week, you'll see more and more teams kind of lock it up. Their hires, and that'll provide you clarity with what's going on with Mike McDaniel, which there was a report by someone who works for NBC Sports, I believe, that put out there. It's like NBC Sports, I believe that the company he works for, that he said Mike McDaniel would rather coach a good team's offense than be like the Cleveland Browns head coach.
That's confirmed. He said that.
Yes, I'll find. You know what? I'll find it. I'll confirm.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the things that everyone's been sitting around waiting to see with Mike McDaniel. That's why I'm kind of interested. He is taking some of these head coaching interviews, like the Tennessee Titans. I guess you could argue, like with Cam Ward, there's something there to where you get to work with Cam Ward and kind of build that organization up, and as well, like they're getting a new stadium. Like the hype around that a little bit is there. Atlanta, I don't know if that was another head coaching job he interviewed for. But like Atlanta's one that you could really sell yourself and be like, yeah, that can be a team I can win with. But outside of that, like the Ravens, I don't think he's going to be interviewing with the Ravens. I haven't seen yet. I'm interested. Then that's been, I feel like, the biggest question with Mike McDaniel's, to where does he want to be a head coach again, or is he someone who will take that path of, hey, I'll be an OC for a couple more years and I'll pick my own job and I'll build my name back up.
Well, yeah, this is the report. This is Greg. Fox Sports, excuse me.
Okay.
Fox Sports, but Greg put this one out. He said former Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel will interview for the Bucs OC job. He would consider a great OC opportunity better than a not great head coaching vacancy. I think Greg does some stuff for Tampa too, so he might have been in contact with Mike McDaniel's agent. I don't know why he wouldn't just say that. He would consider. He's like speaking for Mike McDaniel. So this leads me to believe that the Eagles and the Lions are very much in play with this whole thing. So that's good news for Lions fans. I did want to also mention, I don't know if you saw this clip. I just saw it. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni spoke to the media. And Howie Roseman ended his press conference talking to the fans about building a roster. You want to hear I know people will think we glaze Howie Roseman. You want to hear what he said? You want to hear what he said?
Yeah,
this is
I guess so. I mean, people hate the Howie Brad thing.
Let's just take a listen to what Howie Roseman said. You guys tell me if we're being crybabies about the Brad Holmes stuff. All right, let's take a listen. Here's Howie Roseman.
Can I clarify one thing? Because I think it's important for our fans to understand. You can do whatever it takes to win now and still build for the future and still have those parallel paths. I just don't want it to get confused that we can't do whatever it takes to build a championship caliber team next year and also continue to have really good players on this team for the future. So, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page on that.
Okay. He ended the press conference with that. So imagine your GM saying like, oh yeah, you can, by the way, build like a win now team and also build for the future at the same time. It sounds so effortless from Howie Roseman. It feels like when Brad Holmes speaks, it's like, no, we're building sustained success. We're not worried about trying to go all in and win now. And then you have this GM who just won 2 Super Bowls and been to 3 and is like, yeah, we're going to build for the future and win now. Like we're going to do both. We're going to draft Cooper DeJean and draft Quinion Mitchell and draft Jahan Campbell, but we're also going to make moves and be aggressive and try and win. So
interesting. It's crazy. It's a crazy concept.
It's a crazy
Detroit.
concept.
We've been made to believe from our GM in Detroit that, hey, it's not possible to do both, where it's like, we have to be very, very cautious and not build for the future. And we can't be that aggressive because we have to sign guys or we have to do no, maybe you don't. Maybe you take the Eagles approach. And you know what? As much as people want a victory lap, Howie Roseman, like when they got bounced from the playoffs, you see a lot of people on Twitter be like, oh, Howie Roseman, this is the guy that Lions fans were comparing Brad to or wanted Brad to be like. He just got bounced. Want to know something really, really sweet? Howie Roseman has been to multiple Super Bowls in the last 7 or 8 years. He has won 2 Super Bowls as either the GM or the president of football operations. So someone that knows what they're doing, that's won 2 Super Bowls in the last, 10 years, that's maybe that guy does know a little bit about what he's doing. And if you're a Lions fan trying to victory lap, them getting bounced and be like, oh, Howie, oh, you wanted Howie. Oh, Zadarius Smith retired? Oh, Howie Roseman. Oh, yeah, he did so well with that. Oh, Jalen Phillips trade deadline. Oh, he's really swung on that one and hit on that one. Take a seat, shut up, and stop talking. Because Howie Roseman will show his 2 Super Bowl rings to you while you're sitting there like a little child watching him run circles around Brad Holmes over the last 10 years. So he is spot on. And this is what we've been preaching, I feel like, here in Detroit. It's like, hey, absolutely, Brad, you don't have to be so you to keep saying, dude, it goes back to the end of season press conference a couple weeks ago where Brad is he sits there and he goes, oh no, we've been aggressive. We've done it. And he does this every year. And for the last 6 years, he's talked about how aggressive they've tried to be and it's like, why are you the one GM that's built something, but you're also the only one that talks about being aggressive and it just has never worked out. You're like, oh, we've tried, it just didn't work out. Oh, we tried, it didn't work out. Why do all these other GMs try and it works out? There's no way. There's just no way. It's either you're not being aggressive or you're not trying hard enough to be aggressive. And then now that you're sitting where you are in 2026.
Yeah.
I don't like telling people to shut up too, man. It's a trigger word for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it says, I think the quote that Howie Roseman had in his end of the year presser was, if confetti isn't falling on our head, it's not good enough. When we fall short, I look at myself, I look to improve. Now, Brad said that same thing at the end, right? I look at myself, I have to improve. But Brad's thing, you see there's a difference with expectations, which, again, I'm just pointing out, right? Whether you think it's wrong or right. But Brad's thing is we didn't get in the dance. Howie's is confetti wasn't falling on our head, so we failed. Like they look at it's probably a little bit of a different expectation with that, And I would say the Eagles are in a different spot than the Lions. Obviously, they've won two Super Bowls, been to 3, so the Lions are kind of still trying to get there. But all we're doing is pointing out what has done without a Mahomes, without a Josh Allen. It's the best comparison for Detroit. I mean, let me
present this question to you, Jeff, in the chat. If Howie Roseman took over this Detroit Lions team last offseason, going into last offseason, would the Lions have a Super Bowl within 3 seasons?
I mean, they would have been definitely closer. I mean, to answer, yeah.
Okay. I know it was a yeah or no question. And it's like, do you think Howie Roseman could step into the Brad Holmes shoes, let's say a year ago, going into last year's draft and with everything with the contracts coming up and how maybe, you know what Howie wouldn't do, to be honest, and I hate to say this because people love the players that we have, and Howie probably wouldn't have done some of those deals. He would, you know who he would have let walk?
Who?
Ali McNeil. Because he let what's his name walk just this last year.
Josh Sweat,
Milton Williams to the Patriots. And he's just like, hey, we just can't pay everyone. But guess what? I'm going to make sure we have someone in there to replace. But he's like, I can't pay everyone. Like I paid AJ Brown, I paid Jalen Hurts, I paid our tackles, paid our linebacker, our star linebacker. Let go of some corners, brought new corners in, drafted a corner in the first round. Guess that's an all-pro. Drafted a corner in the second round. That's an all-pro.
I mean, that's
in the last 2 or 3 years. He's drafted 2 corners in the first 2 rounds that both are all-pros this year. First team, not second team, first team.
Now, I will say before we move on, I just want to say, like, Howie also did mention in the press conference they want to keep their own guys. So, he mentioned, like, we want to keep our own players, homegrown players. And he says, with that, you're going to have to make sacrifices. That's on me to make sure that the sacrifices we make are filled in with really good players again. He says, since our coach has been here, first and second day draft success, they've had first and second day draft success. So he kind of went into more detail of what they've done well, and kind of hammered, what they're going to try and do for the future to kind of get better, which I think is important. I don't think, again, no GM's going to go to the press conference and say, I'm an idiot. Here's why I'm an idiot. But at least Howie gave a little more, he gave a little more information or a little more juice to the fan base. Like they got bounced. So he has to be like, hey man, this is where we messed up. Yada, yada, yada. So Brad Holmes obviously went the other way and said competitive disadvantage. I can't answer those questions, kind of dance around a lot of those questions. Again, not to expect you to answer all of them directly, but you definitely could have given a little more than that. By the way, I want to, because the Mike McDaniel stuff, the Eagles are going to be trying to poach him away from the Lions. Not that he is a part of the Lions, but it seems like the Lions are one of the teams he's probably going to be most interested in my opinion, just based off the fit and everything that has to do with that. The Lions brought in a new name today, and I don't know if they were trying to just piss everybody off or not, but they interviewed Steelers OC Arthur Smith. They requested to interview Arthur Smith for their OC position. It says Ian Rappaport put Smith is still in the mix for multiple head coaching jobs and it has significant coordinator interest.
Which is crazy, by the way. Head coaching jobs.
That's
who's hard. I could see the Browns hiring Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith would be the perfect bridge head coach if you're the Browns.
Yeah.
You'd hire him and then you'd fire him in 3 years. I mean, here's what I've been reading about Arthur Smith, because people, and here's where oh my gosh. A lot of the fan base was with me. I tweeted out like, my God, please no. And I got I got a lot of engagement. People agreed with that. So I think a lot of the fan base is on the same page. They don't want Arthur Smith. But you'd be surprised how many people I saw on Twitter, more than I was comfortable with, being like, I'm actually not opposed to it. Like, do you guys just accept everything that's spoon-fed? I mean, have you looked into Arthur Smith? I mean, Arthur Smith offensively, and this is the biggest critique of Arthur Smith. Let me tell you some of the things that Arthur Smith has been criticized for, and you tell me if this is attractive, okay? Predictable offense, misuse of high drafted playmakers. Okay, that's one other thing. Critiques focusing on similar predictable play calling, ineffective usage of key players, inability to evolve the offense. Like, he had success with Tennessee with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. He had a lot of success there. They made the NFC Championship game. That's what people look at. But with the Steelers, I mean, they were very bad. I mean, they used 13 personnel, so they used more tight ends, which is kind of like, that's where a lot of teams, like the Rams, are doing that now. It's kind of this modern offense. So people are, I saw people talking about that, which is true. They use 13 personnel, the Steelers. Yeah. But like the Steelers' offensive rankings, they were 17th in points per game, 26th in yards, 22nd in yards per play, 21st in third down percentage conversion rate. I mean, rushing attack. They ran for how many yards? Let me get the exact number. 200 and something yards against the Lions. They were rushing yards per game, 26th in rushing yards per game. So they got over double against the Lions. By the way, that's on your defensive coordinator. So that's awesome. But they were 26th in rushing yards per game. Like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing that Arthur Smith does that I'm like, intriguing.
It's a weird one because he hasn't really had that much success. Even when he was in Atlanta, you could argue like he got fired and they weren't like one of the best in the league at that point. And like you said, you just named off all those numbers in Pittsburgh. Like there was nothing really attractive to where it's like, oh yeah, Arthur Smith. The only thing I could think of is he has experience. So they're kind of still just doing their due diligence to kind of go, maybe this is one of those things, Jeff, where me and you and the Lions fan base has asked for OC or, in court, these coordinator positions. We've asked for guys that have experience and guys who have been there, done that, know what they're doing a little bit. I would say Arthur Smith, outside of maybe where he ranks offensively and how he's done with offenses, he does have the experience. That's it. Like, but outside of that, it's just like there would be it would be one of the dumber hires of all time to be like, yeah, I think it's just them doing their due diligence of experienced guys.
That's
I
it.
think that's all it is. And which, again, you know what? If part of them doing the job right and actually hiring or interviewing the right guys is having to, interview a guy like Arthur Smith, okay, I'll take the tweet for the day. But if he actually ends up hiring him, then that's when we're gonna have an issue, and there's gonna be a problem, because I don't want to see Arthur Smith.
Well, there was a lot of criticism he got with the
offense.
Steelers. I remember Steelers fans saying how arrogant he is. It's either Steelers or Falcons fans. I read how arrogant he is when he would get criticized about the offense.
Yep.
Like players in Atlanta got extremely better when he left. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson all got better. Like I don't like that. We have all these star players in Detroit. Like that dude, to me, is just a waste of an interview. I mean, there's no way you're looking at Arthur Smith. And by the way, I don't know. I think his father actually founded FedEx.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's putting some money in some people's pockets to put some good PR out there or something. I don't know who's talking about head coaching gigs. I don't know who the hell. I mean, we went through all the head coaching openings. I don't know who's hiring that man. I don't
know who's hiring that man.
Unless they're doing his dad a solid or something. I don't know who would hire Arthur Smith. That would be malfeasance.
Do you think Mike Tomlin is a good coach? Do you trust Mike Tomlin?
I think Mike Tomlin's a good coach.
He hired Arthur Smith.
He hired or fired?
Hired.
Yeah, hired. Yeah, but he hasn't.
Why did Mike Tomlin do it?
Well, Mike Tomlin, and God bless his heart, guy can't figure out offense to save his life. So I mean, I don't blame.
That's tough, man.
That's
tough, dude.
I love Mike Tomlin. The guy can't figure out offense. I mean, he also had who was their prior OC? Another bonehead. I mean,
they've always had they could never figure out the offensive coordinator position, or since like Ben Roethlisberger days. They just haven't been able to figure that out.
Yeah, so
there's no way, right, that this happens. Arthur Smith?
I don't think so.
Okay,
if he does, if for God forbid, like let's say Mike McDaniel, because that's a good segue to like ask the question. I want to ask the chat: is it Mike McDaniel or bust at this point? Because it does feel that way. If the Lions don't hire Mike McDaniel, people look at this as a failure. But the reality of it is, you can still get a very bright, creative offensive guy. You could still land a dude. It's not going to be proven like everyone, including us, prefers. But I'm not going to go there to be like, okay, if they don't get Mike McDaniel, Dan's going to have to settle, and the offense might not be as good as it would be. No, like I'm not cutting Dan any slack. You should be able to find a dude out here. It happens every year. I mean, look what the Falcons, even if you want to go get Zach Robinson, okay, which he just interviewed yesterday, Zach Robinson walked into Atlanta after Arthur Smith and made that offense better. So even he is a better option than Arthur Smith. If they can't get Mike McDaniel, the options they have on the table are all pretty interesting options. And there's guys they probably have interviewed that we haven't even found out about. Like there's no reason that if you do not get Mike McDaniel, if you fumble this hire, and I said this yesterday, that's an indictment on Dan Campbell. You have the opportunity, you still have an opportunity to bring someone in that's a bright dude. Like Dan has so many connections in the league. You can call around, ask about coaches. Like you can do your due diligence. There's no way, Dan, I'm giving this man any room to butcher 2 OCs in a row. Like you just can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I think
even if Mike McDaniel gets another job, it's even
agreed.
I think like save your ass. Mike McDaniel's not going to save your ass.
You're saying so? Is this the Mike McDaniel or bust conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I was just getting right into it because that's the point I was making with this.
So you're saying it's not Mike McDaniel or bust?
No, I don't think so. I think Dan should be more than capable of finding a dude. Maybe not of the experience or the cachet, but it's like, no, you should be able to find a dude who can call plays. for sure.
I think there's like two sides to it. I think you can argue Mike McDaniel or bust. And again, I think it's the conversation, dude, what we brought up yesterday where it was like, if you don't get Mike McDaniel, he's going to one of your contenders in the NFC. He's going to Philadelphia or Tampa Bay. So it's if you don't get him, that's the problem. So if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm looking at it and I'm like, hey, what is Philadelphia, what are they offering you? 5 a year? We'll give you 6. Like we'll give you an extra $1 million to come up in Detroit. And I think you kind of go about it that way. That's how I would say to do it because one, you get them, you take them away from those two. But two, you have one of the best offensive minds in the entire NFL in that building. And that changed. You thought your offense was like good this last year. You're right back to where it was with Ben Johnson if you have Mike McDaniel. And if you are serious, like dead serious, Jeff, if you're dead serious about winning a Super Bowl next year, you do everything in your power to make sure Mike McDaniel is in Detroit next year. Everything. If you want to actually win a Super Bowl. And it's like, yeah, you could be like, it's not a Super Bowl or a bust or a Mike McDaniel or a bust. The bust side of it, Jeff, is essentially this. It's you don't know, like you know what Mike McDaniel is. You know, like it is a guarantee if you bring him in, your offense is going to be at a high level. Dan Campbell, yeah, he's going to be working with him, obviously offensive mind, but that's like a weight lifted off Dan Campbell's chest that he doesn't have to sit there and babysit Mike McDaniel all next season. Now, if you bring in one of these newer names that haven't been an OC yet, then you have that little gap of like, hey, this guy could fail. Like, this guy could fail. This guy hasn't been an OC before. This is his first opportunity at this. You have to make sure as a head coach that it works out, right? And you have to help that guy, give him everything he needs to be successful. Where with Mike McDaniel, like, you just don't have that. You don't have to worry about that. And it's a guarantee, like, is there a part of you that's like Mike McDaniel would fail as the OC here? 0% in my mind. Like, yeah, obviously it could happen, but with the weapons and what he like, his mind goes to the run game. He knows how to work in guys like you saw him with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. You saw him with Darren Waller this last year. Now you give him Sam Laporta. Like, there is no question in my mind that if you add Mike McDaniel to the staff, that there will be any regression offensively. Some of these other guys on the list we're going to go over, there is a chance that you bring them in. Yes, they are a good offensive mind. They have a bright future. But at the end of the day, there is that side of it could fail. Like Kafka from New York, he's gotten play calling taken away from him in New York at one point. He failed for a little bit. And whether it was his fault or not, that's happened.
Yeah.
So there's a chance you bring those guys in. So to me, like, yes, it's kind of Mike McDaniel or bust. And the bust, it's like you're essentially taking a chance on someone at that point, and you're hoping that it works out. And it could work out, but there's still that side where it's like, man, like, you better hope Dan hit on it. Like, just like you said, that comment you said, Dan, you better hope that you pick the right one. Like, if you get Mike McDaniel, there is none of that. You got the right one.
I agree with that. I agree with, like, Mike McDaniel should be the number one priority. It should be like Sam Flannel says, Mike McDaniel, space bar, and then everyone else. Mm-hmm. If you're going to get Mike McDaniel too, you're probably going to, the Raiders screwed this whole thing up, by the way. They just paid Chip Kelly last year $6 million to be their OC.
I would pay 10 for Mike McDaniel.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if
there's no cap in it, right?
McDaniel, I'm going at no cap in for coaches. I'm going over there. I'm being like, okay, Chip Kelly just got $6 million and he didn't finish the season, so we're going to start at $6 million. That's where we're starting at. So if the Lions, they can't be cheap. Like, you're going to have to pay the guy a good amount of money to come here and coach, because what you said, there's no like worry about what he's going to do. You know what he brings to the table.
Yeah, it's essentially it's like the closest thing to a lock of a good hire.
Yeah, you know.
At what point too in these positions that, like, just go all in. Like, I feel like we always jump around these different sides with the Lions when it comes to like player acquisitions, trade deadline, free agency, draft,
it's on coaching too.
Yeah, and it's like, at what point is it gonna, like, you're just gonna look at some part of building this roster and building this organization and be like, we're going all in on a year, right? Like, that all in sentence, like, that needs to be. Honestly, you remember how, like, last year, I don't know. Remember they put all the signs up by Ford Field? I can't remember what the phrase was for last year. It was like, I don't know. It was like returning or I don't know. They need to put signs up all around the city and it just be all in. Like, they are all in next year. And like, they need to lean into that fact of, like, we are all in this year. Like, we are going to win a Super Bowl. And they need to go out and get the best coaches, best players, best everything. It starts with Mike McDaniel.
I'll tell you what, the Eagles will pay that man. They'll probably pay him whatever he wants. So you're gonna have to compete salary.
Whose owner has more money? Let's get into a rich fest.
We don't want to
here.
go down that hole because the Lions actually are not on the top of the richest owners. I mean, they're not.
I think they are. I think they're like top 5.
I don't think so.
Look it up. I swear, I'm pretty sure Sheila's like top 5. The Fords, dude. What? So one of the biggest companies in the world.
Let's see. Denver Broncos. Well, obviously, because it's Walmart.
Are we that low? I thought we were like one of the richest.
So Denver Broncos 1, Kansas City 2, Carolina Panthers 3, Seattle Seahawks 4, Rams 5, Jets 6,
Oh
7
my gosh.
Cowboys.
It's getting out of
8
control.
Jacksonville Jags. The Jags are 9 Robert Kraft, 10 Miami Dolphins, 11 Tampa Bay.
Oh no.
11 Washington Commanders. Should I keep going? 13
No,
Atlanta Falcons,
man.
14 Cleveland Browns, 15 Baltimore Ravens, 16 Buffalo Bills. You know what? Let's just go with tell me where you think the Lions
20, 22 or 23, 25, 26.
You tell me where you think the Lions are.
You know what? I was thinking of the Illiches in the Tigers. That's on me. Hand up. Tigers owner, they're top 10. I was thinking of that.
Sheila Fordhamp is 24th.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
Jeffrey Uri from the Eagles is 20th.
We're 24th.
Yes. Because the Ford money is I mean
they need to like transfer the Ford money over to Sheila.
Yeah.
Can we transfer that?
Oh well, yeah.
What is Sheila's money then?
I don't know.
Where did Martha get her money?
Well, it's all passed down, but I don't know. Like,
and then from the Fords?
You're asking me. I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy.
I know Sheila's Firestone. I know that. I don't think though Sheila got the team from Martha. Is Martha Firestone or is Sheila Firestone? Who's the Firestone?
Martha.
Is Martha the Firestone? I thought Sheila was. I thought Sheila was the one. I don't think Martha was. I thought Sheila was.
Michael says it's still billions. You guys are acting like Sheila. No, we're not, Mike. We're not acting like she lives in a cardboard box. We're talking about
Jeff. Stop acting like she lives on the street, dude. Come on.
Such an exaggerated response to that. Like, no, she clearly has $2 billion and $2 billion. No, we're talking about just comparing owners. Who's the richest owners in the world? Which kind of, owners that can, forfeit money and pay coaches. Look at what the Raiders are doing. The Raiders they're paying like 15 different coaches. If you're rich, it really doesn't, you don't mind as much.
Yeah, if you have billions, it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
And she has billions, but she's 24th out of 32 teams. It's like, I'm not saying she lives in a cardboard box. I mean, Martha drives around in a sick golf cart. You see that golf cart she drives in?
Jeff, you can't come on, bro. You can't be like she's a billionaire. Look at her golf cart.
No,
dude, a golf cart's like $10,000. Dude, it's like $1 to her.
Dude, that golf cart though is badass. You see
it is. Yeah. I don't understand why like the Ford company just can't be like in the back of their mind, the owners of them just be like, let's just help the Lions win a Super Bowl, and they just give us a couple billion.
I mean, just pay Mike McDaniel. It's like the NIL.
That's like spare change to them. Like, yeah, we got it.
It's like NIL money.
Can you not do that? I feel like that should be a lot. I feel like that's like.
I see. I have no idea. That'd be a question we'd have to have. Like, whenever I have questions like this, I think I like Greg Cosell. Like he's the guy I go to with this stuff. I don't know. I would bring him on from NFL Films. And just
why him?
I don't know. He seems like he knows everything.
Such a random.
That dude, he's like the godfather to me of like just football. I don't know.
Every time I go to Greg Cosell, Martha and Sheila Ford.
He would honestly. That guy would know the answer. I really don't know.
Dude, that is unbelievable.
By the way, Anakin, thank you for the $2. Says the Eagles locker room is too dysfunctional for McDaniel. No chance Dan is dumb enough to hire Smith. No way. Appreciate it, Anakin. And by the way, that dysfunctional locker room still gets guys in, it's just how it goes, man. So I think they're still competitive. They're still going to compete with the Lions. There's no doubt about it. Hey, by the way, shout out to Stoney. Stoney suggested a sleeper OC. Little sleeper OC for the job, which I have honestly, I'll tell it after. Let's hear Stoney on his sleeper OC.
Shout out Stoney, by the way. Legend.
Shout out, yeah, the absolute GOAT.
Probably be, shunned, so to speak, because he doesn't have a great track record, but he's still kind of young in the coordinator school because he really hasn't been a coordinator before. He's coached around in college, in high school, and he spent some time as a quarterback coach. And that would be one Josh McCown. You can sit there and say, well, he's the Vikings quarterback coach. JJ sucks. He did get a little better towards the end, but he was also the quarterback coach last year. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sam Darnold had his career changed under the auspices of, yes, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, but also the quarterback coach known as Josh McCown. So it's just, I'm not saying they should go out and hire him. It's just a different name out there.
Does it take away from the fact that Darnold then went to another team and continued the same success, that maybe it was just him? Like if Darnold had fell off, then I can see where you're like, you know what? Yeah, this guy. But they went out to Seattle and they're the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Correct. I think McCown's got a shot. I don't think they would hire him, but I think it's another name to consider.
All right, a couple things here. Can I just make Sam Darnold, the reason why he had success, I'm sure Josh McCown, helped him in different ways. Kevin O'Connell, can we just get this 1,000%? Kevin O'Connell is a former quarterback. He's one of the best play callers in the entire NFL. So I think Kevin O'Connell, he had a better year. He didn't go to Seattle, and I love Rico. Shout out. Actually, I got a lot of ties with Rico.
Do you have a Bears hat on, by the way?
I think so.
Why is Rico wearing a Bears hat?
I think it might be trolling. I have no idea.
All right.
It is a sick hat, but it's not. I hate the logo, but it is that. If that was like a Lions logo,
Jeff, yeah, there probably is one. But you can't be like the Bears hat. Oh, that's a sick hat. You're trying to veer off of those accusations. You really are killing yourself with those, man.
I'll say so. If Sam Darnold had a career year in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell. If we're going to bring up Josh McCown helped Sam Darnold, and, if we want to use that as like the main reason why Sam Darnold had an amazing year, can we also bring up how bad JJ McCarthy's been with Josh McCown? Or now are you just going to skip over that? I mean, we can't use only the good examples. I mean, JJ McCarthy's been ass with both Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown. So I don't know. It's like Josh McCown, I got respect for the guy. He's not getting interviewed to be offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think that's the more interesting part is we haven't heard Josh McCown getting interviewed. I don't even know if he did last year after working with Sam Darnold and them going and winning 14 games last year. I don't think we saw any Josh McCown OC interviews hit the media. So then this year you would think, okay, maybe another year, maybe he just needs more time. Haven't heard one yet. Maybe there is. Hold on. Let me go into Twitter. Josh McCown. Let me see if there's been any requests for him real quick. Just type his name.
We, by the way, Grant Udinski. T is right. Grant Udinski was part of that Viking staff. He's the OC with the Jags. Look what he's doing with Trevor Lawrence. He's a smart dude, by the way. Another bright guy. So shout out to UT. That's ball Noah right there. But I want to tell our story after, because we actually met Josh McCown. We
had like a 30-minute conversation with Josh McCown at the combine.
We talked to Josh McCown at the combine, and
great dude.
Yeah, good dude. He said JJ McCarthy was ready, but that man we caught him at the end of the night.
I mean, to be fair, both sides, both parties, us and him, we were all it was about 2 or 3 in the morning, and we were just like a little in a lobby for 30 minutes. We all didn't know what we were talking about. I'll say that.
I mean, we're talking ball with Josh McCown. Everybody in that place is plastered. I mean, even
Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Grant Kowski works for the Lions now. Yeah, he was, nuts. It was great. Oh, God.
I think Josh McCown at some point, I think he is like that much into the NFL world to where he just needs to get those years in. And eventually, especially working under Kevin O'Connell, I think eventually he's going to become an OC. It's a matter of time. It's just about, I think more so it's when is he ready? And does he have the experience? He's a QB's coach, and you do see that happen a lot, but maybe he needs to work as a pass game coordinator.
That's what I was
like,
just going to say.
Keep moving up.
He's moving.
Yeah. And maybe like if you want to bring him to Detroit to do that, like I wouldn't hate that because he's been working under Kevin O'Connell and he's been around the NFL and he's worked with so many great coaches and has played under great coaches as well, to where that would be something you talk about. But I don't know if I like just looked it up here. I haven't even seen any reports of Josh McCown being interviewed this year. So that's kind of the interesting part to me.
Kevin O'Connell's staff is usually trying to be poached from his offensive staff. I mean, Kevin O'Connell's a bright guy. He's very bright guy. So
I see people like not official people, but like people in different fan bases like us that cover the team that are putting out like candidates for these specific people. And some of them are like Josh McCown is listed. Like I see a list here of Nate Schillhouse, Josh McCown, Frank Reich, all together on a list.
Reich.
Yeah.
Wow.
I see Jets fans here wanted Aaron Glenn last year, and they wanted Josh McCown to come back as OC.
Yeah, because he was a Jets quarterback at one point.
And Shefty for the Patriots OC job last year. Shefty had put out Josh McCown's name. He said, this is last year, by the way, last January. He said, we've heard the name Oh, no, he said Josh McDaniels. Oh, hold on a second.
That's right.
No, he said, Schefter says Josh McCown will not leave Minnesota unless it's for a head coaching job. Whoa, that was last year. So maybe we are wrong. Maybe Josh McCown is out there talking to people.
Here's how I look at it. This is where, and I don't know if this applies to Josh McCown, but this is just I've been saying this lately because it's very true. Guys, people in the NFL talk. All these owners, coaches, assistants, everybody has each other's number. It's like one big fraternity. Okay, they all talk. So when there's assistants that are getting a lot of praise, how like Adam Schefter and these like insiders say in league circles or league sources or in league circles, it's because all these people talk. So if there's a hot candidate that everybody thinks is bright, it's because that coach, everyone's talking like he's a bright guy. He's a bright guy. This guy's a bright guy. Like Davis Webb in with Denver, like everyone is like, yeah, that guy's bright. Okay, yeah, no, I hear the same things. When there's a guy that is kind of hasn't been talked about or hasn't been getting a ton of interviews, it's like, could there be a diamond in the rough? Like, yeah, but I would trust like the guys that are getting thrown out there more personally. Unless there's for some reason a guy's just not getting the coverage, which can be the truth too. But a lot of these guys end up speaking. Like Ben Johnson, everyone was talking. Okay, everyone knew. Same thing with the guys that the Lions interviewed as well. So if Josh McCown doesn't want to leave unless it's a head coaching gig, then like so be it. I guess I don't know. He did interview for the Texans job, I believe, years ago. So,
head coaching. I think Josh McCown's going to be a head coach one day. It's got to take time, right? It's like he's got to work his way up, and I think OC is that next step. But this year we just haven't seen his name. And it's probably because honestly, it's just probably because JJ McCarthy and the Vikings didn't have the best year. I could bet you too. Like I think JJ is going to get better. Me and you have had this conversation about JJ. He's still developing, and he had some games this year where you're like, wow, if he does that throughout a whole year, he's going to be a very good quarterback. If they get to next year and JJ has a year where he's consistent for 17 games, that offense is rolling and they win 10 games, I guarantee you next offseason, guess who's going to start getting those interviews? Josh McCown. It's about timing, I think, in the NFL, and they just didn't have the best of year. So that's probably one of the factors.
Let's get to our coordinator rankings. I want to because it kind of ties into what we're talking about. So
here we go.
Me and Boone decided to rank our top 5 Lions offensive coordinator options that they've either interviewed or haven't interviewed. Just guys we like, guys that we would like for the job. Because we don't know all the guys they've interviewed. We don't know. Not all of it's reported. The Lions are one of those teams they haven't put out names they've talked to. They don't have to. Some teams want to, like the Bucs. I wish the Lions would. I wish the Lions would tell their fan base who they're interviewing. I like it personally, but some organizations decide to keep it more in-house. I can start. I'll show you my top 5 list of guys that I like for the Lions. And here, let me put some music on real quick. All right. So my top 5 names for the Detroit Lions. We'll start. All right. I think everyone's number one should be the obvious, Mike McDaniel. just the by default Mike McDaniel. I don't have to really go into it too much more. The guy is, pedigree.
Hey, Jeff, just hold on. I don't want to cut you off. Your mic's cutting in and out. I think it might be because of the music.
Is it better now?
Yeah, you use the music was I don't know why it randomly does it for you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That time you were getting a little.
Am I better now?
Yeah, you sound good now.
So number one, Mike McDaniel. I don't have to say much. Pedigree. We know the fit. We know the offensive fit, schematic fit, everything fit. Number one. Okay, we don't need to really go too much into Mike McDaniel. Number two. This is someone who's been rising up my boards a lot recently. Again, like I was just talking about, ties right into what we were talking about, Nate Shieldhouse, someone that's been getting a lot of praise. I love I tweeted out kind of his resume. Super impressive. He's new to the NFL. He's been the pass game coordinator essentially for the last 2 years with the Rams. But he's coached, what I love is he's coached every position on offense, just not all in the pros. But he's used to talking to wide receivers. He's used to talking to running backs. He's talked to quarterbacks. He's been the run game coordinator. He's been the passing game coordinator in college. He's been the offensive coordinator in college. And he's been the passing coordinator in the NFL with, of course, Matthew Stafford during his MVP season. So I think Shieldhouse, for a guy who could jump to call plays for an explosive offense, he's someone the Lions should have already talked to. I mean, with all the praise this man's getting, I think Sean McVay said it. He's going to be a head coach one day. He will be. And Sean McVay prepped for pretty much every game from a passing game standpoint. And I love the praise he's been getting. I love his upside as an offensive play caller. So I think he's very intriguing. And he doesn't have the head coaching experience or maybe play calling experience in the NFL, but he's called plays in college, and he's been around Sean McVay as a passing game coordinator. He's not like a quarterback coach. He's actually called plays in college and been to pass game, drawing pass designs in the NFL. So I think that's intriguing. Number 3, Jake Peetz. Guy's been around the NFL for a while, which, Justin Rogers kind of brought this up, which I thought was interesting. He has been around for a while, and he's only been an OC, I think, once in his career, and it was at LSU. So maybe that could be something you bring up. Like he's been around a lot of bright offensive minds. Sean McVay, he was under Sean McVay twice. He's working with Clint Kubiak in Seattle right now, but he's been around some pretty bright offensive guys. He's still young, so it's not like John Morton where he's been around for a while and he's older. But he's still a young guy, bright guy. And I think he's intriguing, but he's kind of middle of the pack for me, but still an intriguing option. Number 4, I have Davis Webb because of the ties to Sean Payton as well. He's working with Sean Payton. Okay, he's his pass game coordinator in Denver, and Sean Payton is one of the brightest offensive minds in the NFL, and Sean Payton loves him. So Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, great friends. Davis Webb, that connection there. Former quarterback, not only quarterback coach, but like I said, passing game coordinator. So I give him the nod over a guy like David Blau, even though I love David Blau, and I think he'll do fine in Washington, but it's just a risk because he'd be basically Kellen Moore, where it's just quarterback coach to play caller. At least Davis Webb's been involved in the offense, drawing passing plays and working on passing concepts and stuff like that. So I like Davis Webb. Zach Robinson, number 5, been an experience as an OC with Atlanta. They ran the ball really well. People want to bring up how mid it was, like Shift God. But to be honest with you, like you get Kirk Cousins at half the year at quarterback. Kirk isn't that – I mean, he just isn't the quarterback he was, quite frankly. And they did a really good job of utilizing their star players. Drake London, right? Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson got the most out of those guys. So he utilized his star players. And honestly, like it wasn't – they're still kind of wondering who their quarterback's going to be for the future. But if you get Jared, he worked with Jared Goff too, which people kind of forget. He worked with Jared Goff back in LA. And I just brought up earlier how Arthur Smith, with the same weapons, underperformed. Zach Robinson did way better in a year later with the same weapons. So it's definitely coaching over there in Atlanta. But these are my top 5. And then if I couldn't fit him on the screen, but at 87th would be Arthur Smith. He's like way down the list. He's down. He's past Jim Bob Cooter. He's down there. Arthur Smith. He's way down there. He's, we got a lot of guys in front of him. Okay. We got Jim Caldwell. We got a lot of guys on that list in front of Arthur Smith. So there's my top 5. What do you think?
I like it. I mean, I know a lot of people like the Mike Kafka one. I see popped up every here and there. That people in the chat are like, "Where's Mike Kafka?" Listen. There's one underlying factor with 3 of these 5 guys, and maybe even I could be. Maybe I'm wrong with this one. Hold on a sec. Let me see something. Yeah, no, never mind. Wait a sec.
I kind of fell off my Kafka a little bit the last couple days.
Yeah, no, so have I. And it's not a bad. I don't think it's like I would be mad if he got hired. I just think, listen, like the one thing that I'd really like when you start looking at these OC things is I think you want to look in my mind, like if it's not Mike McDaniel, I just think you want a smart mind. Like you want someone like, Jake Peets, Shieldhouse, who have worked, Zach Robinson. Dude, I brought it up 2 weeks ago when this all started. Like I was like, why hasn't Brad and Dan looked into people within that Rams organization who potentially could have 2 Super Bowls, since Brad's left? And it's like, look at all the offensive minds that have left that Rams organization and have been successful.
Well, 4 of the 5 guys here have ties to him.
So that was going to be my point. Was like even just in this picture that you put up there, 3 of the 5 guys are wearing Rams shirts right now. Like they directly are like correlated with Sean McVay. And it's like, hey, if you're not going to get Mike McDaniel, and you're going to see on my list too, it's like, hey, why not? If you're going to shoot the odds of someone who, you're going to give the keys to the, to this Lamborghini to someone, you're going to do it with someone, you're going to go into somewhere like Sean McVay, where the percentage is very high when someone leaves his organization to go be a head coach or to be an OC. The percentage of them hitting is very high because he's done such a good job with, building his staff out and teaching these guys in his mind and, relaying that. So that's why I kind of lean towards the Rams thing. And I would love to see one of these Rams coaches or someone who's worked with Sean McVay get into that with them. So yeah. And you'll see the same with my 5. It's very, very similar.
So there's to your point, it is kind of crazy the coaching tree that Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan have in the league. It's ridiculous. I mean, even defensive guys like D'Amico Ryans was a part of the Shanahan coaching staff. So it's like even defensive guys, man. Chris Shula. Like, I mean, they're going to produce like half the league's coaches. I mean, it's insane. Robert Saleh will get a head coaching gig again. So it's insane. But here's Booner, talk to me here. Here's your top 5.
Yeah, mine's kind of similar. Actually, we have very, very similar. There's one different one in there, and I haven't heard this name with the Lions coaching search yet. But at 1, obviously, Mike McDaniel. I think, again, I think that one's your home run hire. I think that's the one you go all in on. And we talked about it earlier in the show. I think with the Mike McDaniel things, it's kind of McDaniel or bust, in my opinion, to where again, Mike McDaniel's a guarantee your offense is going to be good. Like there's no side of it where it's like, hey, you're going to regress. That's a guarantee hit. And you could pay all the money you want in the world to bring him in, and you take him away from the Eagles in Tampa and you bring him here and you win a Super Bowl with Mike McDaniel and you let him go off on his own way and get a head coaching job. Next one, the Nate Shieldhouse one. I'm really, dude, I watched a video. It was a year ago when Liam Cohen got the Jacksonville Jaguars job. I remember watching a video that came across my timeline 12 months ago. And it was a Nate Shieldhouse video. And I don't even know if it was on Twitter or if it was on, I was
posted
watching
it on my Twitter if you saw it.
Recently you did?
Yeah.
So I saw this 12 months ago. I didn't see the one you posted. I don't know if it's the same video. I saw one about 12 months ago when Liam Cohen got the job. And it was like a broadcast. And they played a Nate Shieldhouse video. And they broke down what he does. And every single person that he succeeded this job from and took this job over from, it was Liam Cohen. It was Matt LaFleur. It was Kevin O'Connell. Another name, Zach Taylor. Like guys that are extremely successful in the NFL that wrote up plays and drawing passing concepts and staying up. When they talked about this, man, staying up till 3, 4 in the morning, making sure that all these different concepts and plays were written into the playbook and making his own up, going through it and learning. All these coaches did that and went through that process. Yep. And Nate Shieldhouse took that over. And it wasn't being the pass game coordinator. It wasn't being the OC. It was a job that was handed down from each one of these people that they think, hey, you're the next one up. You're the next one up. Nate Shieldhouse got that. Mike LaFleur is the OC there. I don't even know if Mike LaFleur did this, but they passed that job down to a lot of different people. It was one of the more interesting videos. So I'm going to go rewatch it because actually, Jeff, I remember seeing it a year ago. And then I went today. I was searching everywhere to watch this video when we started doing this list because I wanted to rewatch it to explain it well. And it's one of the most incredible things. Nate Shieldhouse is going to be a hell of a coach in the NFL, head coach or OC. If you can get Nate Shieldhouse to come be your OC, I mean, he's interviewing for head coaching jobs now. I think that's a home run. If you're talking about a guy that has a very, very bright future as a play caller, I think he's going to kill it. Whoever gets him, I would love that for that to be in Detroit. I would love it. And for his first OC job to be with the weapons that you have in Detroit, he would dominate, in my opinion. If you're talking about taking a swing on a guy that you don't really know, haven't seen it yet, Nate Shieldhouse is that guy. Next guy, the Brian Daboll one. I saw some people in the chat say I haven't heard that yet. That's interesting. I haven't heard Brian Daboll yet. But little do people know, Dan Campbell, Brian Daboll, friends, good friends. Brian Daboll, I believe, and I could be wrong with this. Let me make sure. I read an article earlier this morning, Jeff, and I want to make sure I get the cities right and get the teams right. But I believe when Brian Daboll was the OC for the Miami Dolphins back in 2011, he actually hired Dan Campbell as an offensive assistant. And I think he's the one that upgraded him to a tight ends coach. So he gave Dan Campbell a shot in Miami. They became very close friends. And you know, that's why they did obviously the joint practices together over the last few years with the New York Giants. They have a very, very good relationship. We have not seen, Jeff, them interview Brian Daboll, but I think it could be one of those things where at the last minute when they're about to hire someone, maybe you start to hear rumors about it. And that's one, you know, again, I think they've interviewed people that we just haven't heard yet because they don't release it. I think Brian Daboll's someone that is trying to get a head coaching job this cycle. And if that ends up not happening, I wouldn't be shocked if Dan Campbell's sitting there waiting to see what happens with Brian Daboll. If they can't get Mike McDaniel and Dan is sitting there going, all right, if Brian, like, and he's talked to Brian, like, hey, if you don't get a head coaching job, we would love to have you as an OC. And I know a lot of people might not like him because of the situation that happened in New York. But we talk about Mike Kafka or Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll has been teaching Mike Kafka. You know what I mean? Like, Brian Daboll has been kind of the mentor to Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka could be really good, but like, you go one up, you go to the guy that has been teaching this guy. You go to Brian Daboll and you bring him as a coordinator. I think Brian Daboll will do a hell of a job with the weapons again that the Lions have. You kind of already went over the Jake Peetz thing. I think the interesting thing with Jake Peetz, I think he did something similar to Nate Shieldhouse when he was in Los Angeles as well too, Jeff. He was the kind of the pass game specialist, pass game coordinator, offensive assistant. So he's kind of in that same role as the Nate Shieldhouse. And then obviously he's in Seattle now, and they have a hell of an offense at the moment. So I think the Jake Peetz one is a very, very interesting one. And then the Zach Robinson one, that one I put at fifth, Jeff. The Rams connection is the thing that really gets me. I'm still a little iffy on the Zach Robinson one. Like, I would like to know more personally. I would like to get a better idea of what Zach Robinson's about, you know, where like that offense in Atlanta was good. He did have a lot of weapons. I'd be interested to see what he could do in Detroit, though. There is a side where it's like, all right, is Zach obviously I don't think he'd be better than Jake Peetz or any of the guys ahead, but is he like in that Mike Kafka conversation?
I think he's slightly, like I would put him in that bucket probably. That's where I would probably put him as well. I would put him in that bucket. Like, I think Mike McDaniel, spacebar, like Flannel says, spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. And then Nate Shieldhouse, like, you know, and then you get all the other coaches as well. Like, you know, but yeah, I agree.
What do you think about the Brian Daboll thing? We really have.
I know people are going to be turned off by it. I like Brian Daboll. I know he's a big personality. So I think that's where people probably are like, it's like you got two head coaches, two alphas, like working together.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be an issue. I can see why people would maybe be skeptical about it. It's probably where people would be more hesitant. But you can't deny Brian Daboll, you know, he knows offense.
I think he would do a good job here. I do. I don't think it would be like one of those disaster situations.
People say he's like a Josh Allen, what do you call it? Disciple or something. Like, he only had success with Josh Allen. But I'd probably put Brian Daboll in that Mike Kafka bucket. You know, maybe like he's above him, but he's still in that like bucket of guys who are like, Could go either way, but I don't hate it. Like if they announced he was the OC, I'd be like, okay, like, I'm not going to be like, hell yeah, Brian Daboll, here we come. Like we're winning the bowl. Mike McDaniel.
You never know, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm curious too. People say he loves mobile quarterback. I don't know if that's. I mean, he's just worked with mobile quarterbacks. I don't know if that would be like something that would actually matter, but whatever. Jomo says Zach worked with Goff in LA. At LA, he did. He was his assistant quarterback coach there. And Jomo also says Boone quarterback during the Illinois versus Michigan 6 OT game back in the day. He was quarterback in college. Actually, not bad too. He was like a highly ranked quarterback.
Dude, the one thing with the Zach Robinson that worked with Jared Goff is I started seeing things today, and again, this is why I didn't want to talk about it in depth because I haven't done my research on it. But it sounded like that was, and obviously they lost their run game and they kind of all regressed there in Los Angeles. But when he started working with Goff, that was when the regression of Goff happened. And that was where I started. Like that's where I looked at it and was like, okay, he's not going to be at the top of the list for me, but I still think it's an interesting name to think about because of the relationship. But if he did struggle working with Jared Goff, then it was like, why would you, I'm sure Dan, when he had the interview with Zach, that conversation came up, you would think, right? And like, wait, what happened? Why was there the regression? Why did you struggle with Goff? That's the only thing.
Gavis says, so not one of these guys is a winner. Great experiment on your own time. Go get Leftwich. Byron Leftwich.
When was the last time he was coached? He coached
Tom Brady with the Bucs. And he's with
I thought he retired.
He's with Prime in Colorado.
Oh, I thought he retired.
He's coaching quarterbacks there.
Byron Leftwich is?
I think he's coaching quarterbacks, or he's an offense. I don't think he's the offensive play. He might be the offensive play caller, actually. Yeah.
He didn't coach for 3 years. It just says assistant coach.
Oh, so he's just there.
Yeah, he's just hanging out there.
Yeah, Byron actually got interviewed to be like the Jags head coach at one point. Like he was getting a lot of,
what a name. I just did not expect that to pop
even like
up.
Bobby Slowick. Like Bobby Slowick, he's working with, he's working somewhere. Senior passing game coordinator of the Dolphins. Senior passing game coordinator of the Dolphins. That's what he is. Well, not anymore, I guess. But he was. He was with Mike McDaniel, technically. Maybe he gets brought in to be the pass game guy with.
And you get both of them.
Yeah,
dude. I really hope they get Mike McDaniel. That's like it has to happen, right?
You would think. Let's bring in our good friend Sam Flannel. Before we do that, I have to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. We'll see you guys in a minute. We'll welcome in Mr. Flannel. I've interrupted the show to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper, and specifically Sleeper picks for this weekend's game, Rams-Bears. I have the picks for you. I have under or less for Matthew Stafford's passing yards. They're in Chicago. It's going to be colder. 268.5 seems a bit rich. I'm going to go less on that number, more on Devontae Adams' receiving yards. Because whoever's guarding him, it's not going to be the number one corner, and we know the Bears can give up some yards. I'm going to go more on Kyron Williams' rushing yards. The Bears' run defense isn't very good, and I'm going to go more on Caleb Williams and his rushing yards, 19.5. I think he scrambles around, makes some plays, extends plays, and gets some rushing yards. Those are my picks. You guys can lock in yours as well. Shout out to our friends over at Sleeper, as always, for sponsoring the show. Now let's get back to it. Let's bring in our good friend, former host of the Morning Woodward Show and of among many other things. I mean, he participates now in Crunch Time Sports, which you guys can check him out on our watch parties and on Saturdays. He does some shows with Caleb, joins us during the week. Mr. Flannel Sam. Flannel, how we doing?
I'm good. I guess I'm kind of everywhere now these days on Crunch Time. I kind of like it. I just sort of like pop in every once in a while, like a comment, and then I'm gone.
What would your comp be if you were like, let's say if you were an NBA player, who would your comp be? Very versatile.
I'm gonna go with, all right, I am Vinny Johnson, the old microwave.
Wow.
I come in off the bench, I knock down a couple of threes, and then I retire to the night and let Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer and like Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars, which is you guys, do the rest of the work.
Is it disrespectful to call you like I'm gonna throw a couple names out there. Don't feel like this is a bad one. Like are Udonis Haslam or Andre Iguodala.
Okay, there's a big gap between
Yeah.
Udonis Haslam and Andre Iguodala.
You know,
Yeah, you're talking Finals MVP or culture guy.
Who's like? I was just trying to think of who's like the Udonis Haslam of like the Warriors, the guy that just like they're like, I'll do anything you need me to do.
He would be he would
Draymond.
Be,
I don't think I'm Draymond. I don't think I'm on enough shows to be Draymond quite yet. That's why I went to
Sean Livingston.
Okay, I like that little mid-range. As long as Flannel just don't break your leg, man, we'll be good.
Oh yeah, that was a bad injury.
Off the bench, mid-range jumpers, and
Oh,
he's
man.
he's out. You know, he comes in clutch. Flannel.
You're like our Jamal Crawford, man. Like you're
Lou Will.
Lou Will. Lou Will.
I mean, Flannel, since last time we talked to you, a lot of crap's going on, and we got the Mike McDaniel stuff. What do you think about the Mike McDaniel stuff, Flannel? Him being potentially the next OC. Me and Booner have been talking this week a lot about just how there's so much competition in the NFL right now. I think half the league needs either a new head coach, which will need no offensive coordinator, or other teams just need an offensive coordinator. I think it's like half the league needs offensive coordinators. Lions, obviously an attractive job. We have like the Eagles, the Bucks, Chargers with Justin Herbert, whatever you bring up. Where are you at with the Mike McDaniel stuff? Is it Mike McDaniel or bust to you?
Okay, so there's obviously some other young, talented names that you guys just went through, and there's some good second options that I would be happy-ish with, like, for example, Zach Robinson for me or Jake Peets, just to throw out a couple. But absolutely, it's not Mike McDaniel or bust, but he is at the top of the list, and there really isn't even a close second. Because when you look at Mike McDaniel, I'm not going to go into too many details because it's been beaten to death for the past couple of days. But when it comes to the potential to be an offensive coordinator for a high-flying offense, which is what this Lions offense is when it is right, nobody has a more impeccable resume right now than Mike McDaniel. You talk about a guy who was a successful head coach, and while he was there, he was a successful play caller on offense. He was a successful OC, and he was a successful run game coordinator. And also, I think hiring Mike McDaniel would just represent the Lions really being a big boy organization. And I understand that if Mike McDaniel were to say, get one of the head coaching jobs available and a team's willing to hire him, and that's ultimately what he wants to do again, I wouldn't be mad at the Lions. But if he took another offensive coordinator job, I'd be a little bit miffed because Mike McDaniel, man, that's big time. And you look at their last cycle heading into the 2025 season, they did the Lions good old boys club, getting Kelvin Shepard as the DC, getting John Morton as the OC because Dan Campbell thought he did a decent job back in 2022. No, Mike McDaniel would be the right way to go if he is available, if the Lions can hire him. And I'm glad that at least it seems like the Lions are doing what they can to try and get this guy. That's a good sign that he even came in for an interview. It's not enough, but yes, Mike McDaniel is the obvious number one name.
Who do you think outside of Mike McDaniel, Flannel? Like, what are some names that you would like? We did our top five. Me and Jeff each did our top five OCs that we want for the Lions. There's been 7, 8, 9 names that have been thrown out there. I know everyone has like their specific preference on who they want, the style they want. If they want a guy who's never done it before, an experienced offensive coordinator. If you take away Mike McDaniel, say Mike McDaniel tomorrow signs to be the OC for, let's say, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, then you have to move on and you have to go get your next top three. Who are you picking? And who are some of the guys that you like?
They interviewed Arthur Smith too.
Oh yeah, Arthur.
Oh,
I'm sure we can get into that in just a second. Arthur Smith is not on my list, by the way, just so you know, stop the presses. But I'll just give you, for now, I'll give you my second choice. My second choice is Zach Robinson. And I know he's both of your guys' fifth choices. And the reason Zach Robinson for me is I like the fact that he comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, which is becoming more and more impressive as the days go on and is only going to get more impressive, I think. And what I like what Zach Robinson was able to do with the Atlanta Falcons offense in these last couple of years. He was sort of given the keys with Raheem Morris as the defensive coach. Zach Robinson was able to call the plays, and he was able to unleash and unlock Bijan Robinson to where he's become, in my opinion, the best offensive player in all of football with like 2,300 yards from scrimmage last year, over 1,400 rushing yards in 2024. He's been able to unlock Drake London, who we all knew was a talented guy, but seemed to be held back by the previous regime. We all know who that is. And he was also able, I'm talking about Zach Robinson with the offense, able to re-unlock Kyle Pitts to where he had obviously this historic rookie year being a 1,000-yard receiver as a tight end. And then
he's back, Flannel. He's back.
For those next 3, he was hurt a lot, but he also was looking like a bust. And this year he's back. He's back to being honestly one of the more productive tight ends in all of football. So Zach Robinson was able to do for this Atlanta Falcons offense what Arthur Smith was not able to do. And it's not like the Falcons have gotten this seismic upgrade at quarterback. It's been the Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins show. So I think what Zach Robinson was able to do as the play caller, as somebody who's got experience doing that, is very impressive. And I don't think I'd have to worry about him, at least based off of resume, stifling the likes of Jahmyr Gibbs or JMO, which John Morton actually did, Amon-Ra, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, they brought in Arthur Smith to interview. Flannel, the thing I said about Arthur Smith, there's actually people that are breathing air that have stated he wouldn't be that bad. And everyone has an opinion, everyone has one. All right. So I'm not saying that you can't have an opinion. You can have your opinion, and I respect your opinion. Maybe that intro was a little aggressive, but I just don't agree that Lions fans should even take time out of their day to consider this man as the next OC. I mean, his offense is the biggest criticism for Arthur Smith is exactly what you fans do not want as offensive coordinator. He has struggled to utilize his star players, and that has been a big common theme with Arthur Smith and his offenses. I know the Steelers, you can bring up a multitude of issues, receivers not going to meetings, and I know there's some things you can point out that probably isn't as much on Arthur Smith. They still were bottom of the league in some categories, not a great rushing team, although they ran for 200-plus yards on the Lions. So, I mean, take that however you want. But even back in Atlanta, like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, like you said, Bijan, all the points you made about them improving, that was regression under Arthur Smith, to your point. So I think this is more just I don't know what to call it, doing someone a favor or just maybe doing your due diligence. Okay. But I think we can agree that it's a big fat no on Arthur Smith, Flannel.
Yes, it's a big fat no. And I want to be fair. Arthur Smith did have a lot of success as the OC of the Titans in
with Ryan Tannehill, which I give him. I give him
2019, 2020. Ryan Tannehill played the best ball of his life. Derrick Henry in those 2 years rushed for a combined 3,500 yards, which is insane. A.J. Brown had 1,000 yards both years, I believe. The Titans made the playoffs both seasons. At that time, Arthur Smith, I think, was a legitimate, hot, young offensive name, and he got a job out of it. So congratulations to him on that. The problem is the 5 years since have not been great. And I want to give him this point because I know people are going to bring it up. I know the quarterbacks he's worked with haven't been the best bunch. You had old Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, old Russell Wilson, and old Aaron Rodgers. I get it. It's not easy to create good offenses with those quarterbacks. However, and you guys have alluded to it, I'm going to put it in an even stronger term. Arthur Smith offenses of the past 5 seasons, 3 of which head coach of the Falcons, 2 of which the OC of the Steelers, have been where star players have gone to die. It's Bijan Robinson. It's Drake London. It's George Pickens. It's DK Metcalf. Every single one of those players have been better without Arthur Smith than with. Every single one of them. That's 4 guys. And we all know back in 2023, Arthur Smith, he kind of fell in love with Tyler Algier. I think we all can agree with that, and we saw it. Obviously, you don't want to run your rookie running back into the ground, but Tyler Algier almost got identical rushing usage to Bijan Robinson, but he averaged about a yard less per carry.
And Flannel, maybe if you want D-Mont to get going a little bit, we do get Arthur Smith in here. He'll do it. He'll be more than happy to get D-Mont rolling.
That's fair.
But here's the thing. David Montgomery as a Lion has averaged 4.5 yards per carry. He's actually been effective. He's had 1,000 yards one year. He's had double-digit touchdowns another year. And I'm not saying Tyler Algier is bad. It's just in that particular season, you have to feel out how the games are going. You have to feel out how the season is going. And clearly, throughout the whole year, Bijan Robinson was a guy who was one of the most electrifying players in the NFL, and was a wow guy, and he was clearly the better back. And Arthur Smith probably could have saved his job if he would have used Bijan Robinson more, and he just didn't do it. I mean, DK Metcalf this past year had his career low in receiving yards in a season. You look at George Pickens, that 1 year with Arthur Smith is when he was crashing out the most, and he wasn't super productive. He was branded as a malcontent. He goes to Dallas, which is a better personnel, granted, but still second team All-Pro. And we all know Drake London, his struggles when he was first on the Atlanta Falcons in his first couple years, didn't reach 1,000 yards until year 3. I don't like that. I don't like the possibility of a head coach that could do anything to stifle the litany of weapons that the Lions have. You know, J-Mo, Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Laporta, David Montgomery. And I understand to some extent this offense is idiot-proof, but Arthur Smith, and on top of all of that, and I know this is just anecdotal, when have any of you, Jeff, you Booner, you in the chat, watched an Arthur Smith offense over the last 5 years and been like, damn, this is really working well. Damn, I'd really like to have that guy. You haven't. And if you say you have, you lied.
The only game Flannel would be when they torched the Lions, which I think
isn't that funny? Isn't that actually funny? You're 100% right. How did DK play in that game? He played pretty well in that game. How did they play pretty well in that game? Man, isn't that just the ultimate kick in the nuts? Yeah, there is one game. The game that might have cost the Lions a playoff spot this year. Thanks, Arthur Smith.
That is heartbreaking. Flannel, can I ask you, I made the statement yesterday that I felt like, in my opinion, the Detroit Lions are right now focused on the wrong coordinator position. I think they should be more focused on the defensive coordinator position over the OC. And I know people are like, well, Booner, the OC job's open. I still stand on that statement. Like, I told Jeff this, like, I would rather Dan Campbell call plays for the rest of eternity and then them figure something out with this defense and go get an actual proven defensive coordinator over Calvin Shepard, who somehow regressed average defense. What are your thoughts on that? Like, where are you at when it stands with the Calvin Shepard thing? And we can get back in the OC talk here if we want to keep rolling with that.
I'm curious too, Flannel.
But I just want to know where you stand on that, because I truly do believe like they're focused on the wrong coordinator spot. I think they need to be focused on that defensive side of the ball if they want to win a Super Bowl, because the offense, there's been its problem. The offense is still top 5 in the NFL. I could go in there and run the offense with the weapons and probably be top 5. So I think it's the defensive side with the DC. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what concerned me about the defense, I think for the first 10 weeks or so, the Lions defense actually was playing well enough, and Calvin Shepard was showing that he might have some chops as a defensive coordinator. But what I didn't like, and I think we all didn't like it, and I heard, John the Doc Macaroon say it on your show last night, and I'm going to repeat some of his talking points, is that as the season progressed, you saw the defense take quite a bit of a dip. All of those games that we talk about, the Giants game, the Packers game at home, the Steelers game at home, the Rams game on the road, that was a stretch where in those 4 combined games, you had 1 sack by a guy not named Aiden Hutchinson. Just 1, and 0 by Al-Qadim Muhammad, by the way. Not trying to diss Al-Qadim Muhammad, but the point is that the pass rush just wasn't there for a big chunk of some of their second half games, and I think that cost the Lions quite a bit. And you also saw in that stretch, that 3-game losing streak that they had that ultimately doomed their season at LA, home versus the Steelers, and at Minnesota. The Lions rush defense went from being pretty good, decent enough, I'll say pretty good, decent enough, to just getting gashed, run through like it stole something. In those 3 games combined, they gave up 84 carries for 547 yards, 7 touchdowns for an average of 6.5 yards per carry, including
damn.
Yes, it's bad. including 2 very explosive plays to Jalen Warren and 1 very explosive jet sweep end around to Jordan Addison. And the reason why I wanted to bring up the pass rush in those games and then the run defense in those games is that I don't think you can explain that as, oh, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch were out. Obviously, Kirby missing most of the season and not being that ball hawk back there hurt. Obviously, Brian Branch missing those 5 games and going down with a devastating injury. We don't know what the future is with him. That hurts. Obviously, I'm not trying to take that away. But at the end of the day, it seemed like as the season was going on, teams were starting to figure out Kelvin Shepherd's defense. Their defense was regressing while their front 7 was pretty much completely healthy, actually got healthier, getting back guys like Ellie McNeil and Malcolm Rodriguez. So the defense, it's not like it was a sieve all season long, but when it really counted at the end, when the Lions needed them to get more consistent stops, when they needed them to get some more consistent pressure, stop the run a little bit better, they just weren't there. And Kelvin Shepherd's not year 1. Kelvin Shepherd, I don't think, had the chops and the experience to know how to adjust as well as he needed to, as Aaron Glenn did back in previous seasons, where the defense wasn't always good, but it seemed like they were more timely with the things that they were doing, whether it was forcing a timely turnover, whether it was bowing up in the red zone. That's not something we saw from Kelvin Shepherd's defenses down the stretch. So I'm absolutely open to potentially a new coordinator moving forward, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I also think if you want a little bit of optimism, I wouldn't be shocked if Kelvin Shepherd takes a big leap as a coordinator. I think hiring him hurt the Lions this year, but I also think Kelvin Shepherd has a chance moving forward. But if it doesn't work out soon, he's got to go.
Now, Flynn, I'd like to get your thoughts. We talked a lot after the playoff games this weekend, just kind of what the Lions can take away from the weekend. As a Lions fan, you were there with us watching Bears-Packers, but just more than that game and just in general, the 49ers beat the Eagles on the road with half their roster dead. And actually 90% of their roster dead. I think half is probably being friendly. But what did you take from the weekend? Lions are eliminated from the playoffs. They should have been in. But just watching the kind of the first game so far, what are some things you thought to yourself about like how it could apply to the Lions maybe?
Well, this is an easy one, and I think we've talked about it before, is that injuries were by no means an excuse for the Lions to miss the playoffs. There were multiple other teams that were either as badly injured, more injured, had certain position groups that were hurt pretty badly. I mean, you look at the San Francisco 49ers. Listen to this list, everybody. This season, Brock Purdy missed 8 games. Brandon Ayuk missed 17. George Kittle missed 6. Ricky Pearsall missed 8. Fred Warner missed 11. Nick Bosa missed 14. And they still made the playoffs. Let's go to our divisional rival, the Packers. Christian Watson missed 7. Tucker Kraft missed 9. Jaden Reed missed 10. Devontae Wyatt missed 7. Micah Parsons missed 3. Zach Tom missed 5. Elton Jenkins missed 8. The Packers still made the playoffs and were actually handling their injuries really damn well until finally the backbreaker, which was the Micah Parsons one. Let's go to the Chicago Bears. Roma Dunze missed 5. Tremaine Edmonds missed 4. TJ Edwards missed 7. Austin Booker missed 7. Jalen Johnson missed 10. Kyler Gordon missed 14. Tyreek Stevenson missed 4. Noah Sewell missed 4. And they won the division. I've got one more. Even though they didn't look good in the playoffs, the Chargers, Rashawn Slater missed the whole season. Joe Alt missed 11. Omarion Hampton, their rookie running back who was really coming on, their best running back when he was healthy, missed 8. Khalil Mack missed 5. And even Najee Harris, their running back depth, missed 14. Tony Jefferson, their leader in interceptions, missed 4. That's what really struck me. And I understand that the Packers went out in kind of embarrassing fashion, and the Chargers went out in embarrassing fashion. And in the case of the Bears, a lot of those guys who I've mentioned have gotten healthy. It's still a major indictment on the Lions that they didn't make the playoffs. And I understand they had impactful injuries, particularly to Kirby, Brian Branch, and Sam Laporta. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to talk about this. Brian Branch played 12 games. He didn't play 4. He didn't play 3. He didn't play 6. Brian
He did
Branch
play 12
games. That's not an excuse to miss the playoffs. Injuries like this, like the 49ers, for example, because they're still very, 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 very banged up. I don't think they can win the Super Bowl because of all of that. But that's not really an indictment on them because they got into the playoffs. They went to Philadelphia, the defending champions, and won a road playoff game with Fred Warner out, with Nick Bosa out. George Kittle goes down early. Brendan Ayuk out. Ricky Pearsall out. That's freaking unbelievable.
They had Eric Kendricks, by the way, playing linebacker.
Eric Kendricks. And then another guy that they brought in, I don't even know his name, led them in tackles. Demarcus Robinson was their leading receiver in that game. Demarcus freaking Robinson.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway, is that the Lions should still be there with the injuries that they had. There's reasons why they're not, but it can't be an excuse. And even if they have bad injuries next year, as long as it's not to Goff, can't miss the playoffs again. Cannot miss the playoffs again. It's embarrassing. And we all know that. You guys know that. Everybody in the chat knows that. Some slappies don't, but it's embarrassing.
Flannel, we actually haven't talked to you since the Brad Holmes press conference. What were your thoughts on that whole thing? Obviously, a lot of Lions fans, and we obviously, there was a side of us that didn't take it as, that well. We thought the first half of it, him taking responsibility was good. But then leaning into the second half of it, he kind of started saying the same things he said in the past and not going to change much. It's just a very weird thing. What were your thoughts on the whole Brad Holmes, end of season press conference as a whole?
Well, I think, like you guys said, at the beginning, when he was more or less taking responsibility and saying it's on me, I was okay with that because I was really freaking worried that it was going to be a Titanic-like disaster. It was not. There were things that I liked, and I think for the most part, he was accountable. I guess the couple of things, here's the thing that I dislike the most. When Bob Wojnarowski asked that question, which ultimately led to be more aggressive, and Brad Holmes almost seemed like he forgot the definition of the word aggressive. How it pertained to the Detroit Lions in their future and how to be aggressive. And one thing that I pointed out is that let's just start with the teams that have ruled the NFC since Brad Holmes has been the GM, and I'll stop at that. The Los Angeles Rams, what did they do in the 2021 offseason? Traded for Matthew Stafford, traded for Jalen Ramsey, traded for Von Miller midseason, traded for Odell Beckham Jr. when Robert Woods went down. And they won the Super Bowl that year. That's aggressive. 2022, the Philadelphia Eagles, what did they do? They signed Hassan Reddick. They traded for A.J. Brown. They got to the Super Bowl. By 2024, Hassan Reddick was gone. A.J. Brown was still there, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they decided to get in and win the Saquon Barkley sweepstakes, who some may have seen as depreciated, but all he needed was to get out of New York Giants hell and get to Philadelphia Eagles heaven. And last year in 2024, and probably being the biggest reason the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Saquon Barkley was arguably the best player in football. That's aggressive. Even the San Francisco 49ers, the litany of moves that they've made when they've had their success over the past 6 or 7 years before. I mentioned it to Caleb and the boys on Saturday. I'll just repeat it again. Even going back to 2017, they made a midseason trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. 2018, in the 2018 offseason, they acquired Richard Sherman. In the 2019 midseason, they made a trade for Emmanuel Sanders. All of those guys played a major role in helping the San Francisco 49ers get to the Super Bowl in 2019. 2020 offseason, they acquired Trent Williams. 2021 offseason, they acquired Alex Mack. 2022 midseason, they traded for Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers. 2023 midseason, the 49ers traded for Chase Young. And they were rewarded not with a Super Bowl win. They didn't quite get to the mountaintop, but in 2021 and 2022, they made the NFC Championship game. And in 2023, they made the Super Bowl and took the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime. The point with all of this is that Brad Holmes, if you want to see aggressive, you can look at the teams that have been ruling the NFC. You can look outside of your organization and look at teams being aggressive and it working. You can even go back to the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They won the Tom Brady sweepstakes. They acquired Rob Gronkowski in the offseason, acquired Leonard Fournette before the season, acquired Antonio Brown midseason. The 2019 Chiefs taking it to AFC, which started their dynastic run. What were their big defensive moves in the offseason? Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark. That's aggressive. That's big time. Those are 5 organizations that have been basically whooping the rest of the NFL's ass basically since 2019. And that's what drove me crazy with Brad Holmes' response about that, because if you want to find aggressive, it's not, if you want to look for aggressive, it's not that hard to find. Look at the teams that have been having the most success in the NFL over the past 6 or 7 years. It's just, it's not, Brad Holmes was a little flippant with like, define the Oxford definition of aggressive. No, you can see it with other teams and you can see it with other teams working. It just seems like Brad Holmes is scared of his own shadow to make that kind of a move just in case it doesn't work. And that approach is not going to get the Lions to a Super Bowl. It's just not.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Flannel. I wanted to ask just about the kind of free agency moving forward. The Lions have a bunch of free agents that, probably half you don't really need to probably bring back, but just some of the bigger names: Amik Robertson, Anzalone, Roy Lopez. You got obviously Davenport, Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike. Where are you at with some of these free agents? We talked about the Anzalone stuff, and he's probably going to get about $9 to $10 million in free agency, probably $10 million, probably the going rate for a linebacker like him. You did just pay Derek Barnes $8 million. So, I mean, we could probably talk about that if you like to, but is there anyone in free agency, not on the free agents that you want to sign side, but just the returning guys, anybody that stands out to you that you like to have back? I think Maddox is also a free agent, people like that.
I think Avonte Maddox would be good to bring back. I don't think he's going to price himself out of Detroit. I'm worried that Al-Qadim Muhammad is, because in a perfect world, he's actually a guy that a lot of us mocked before the season, but he balled out. He did his job.
Yeah, he was like a James Houston on steroids. That's like the best way to describe him, I guess.
Yeah, double-digit sacks. I'm not going to poo-poo that no matter what, and I don't think anybody should either. But I also think that
don't poo-poo that.
Absolutely not. But that could mean that another team overpays for him. As far as Anzalone, oh man, he's getting a little up there in age. If they could do something short term, I wouldn't mind that. Maybe Rocky Yassin is somebody that I want to bring back. Roy Lopez, I think he's another one that hasn't caught on amongst the NFL yet, to where he might be the more valuable to the Lions than any other team, to where the Lions can get him at a low price. I mean, it's not like the Lions have no options in terms of internally of who they can bring back. But like I said, if I'm thinking in terms of what it's going to cost, what I think is realistic, Roy Lopez, Avonte Maddox are probably at the top of the list. Then like Rocky Yassin, potentially AQM if he's affordable, but I just don't think he's going to be. And I also worry about Alex Anzalone being affordable, because I think he's a guy, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but I think his social media has told you that he thinks very highly of himself.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, Flannel, I asked the doc this question this week because I think people in the media here, it's when you cover the Lions, it's good to know. If you put the GM hat on, I know you already talked free agents, but if you put the GM hat on this offseason, and Flannel Sam, the GM, what are you fixing, and what's like your first, let's say your first 2 moves that you make, whether it's free agency, draft, whatever it is. If you were fixing the Lions this offseason to go win a Super Bowl next year as Brad Holmes, what is Flannel the GM doing?
Well, I think in terms of fixing the Detroit Lions, and I'm going to give a quick overview before I give what I think specifically needs to be done. I think they need to have a worst to first kind of offseason. And I'm not saying that they need to sign 6 guys, draft 4 Pro Bowlers or anything like that. What I'm saying is that across the board, and I know this isn't the GM, it's Dan Campbell, but they need to get the OC hire right. They need at least 1 impact rookie, and they need at least 1 impact free agent signing or trade, preferably more from the rookies and free agency. To me, I think that the first round is really rich with potential offensive linemen, both those that you could potentially get and those that might be just barely out of your reach. Thank you for beating the Bears, by the way, Lions, in a meaningless game, but I won't talk about that. Also, I'm curious to see how, because I'll be honest, I haven't done my deep dive in terms of available free agents yet. I'm curious to see who's available in the trenches, both when it comes to defensive tackle, when it comes to more offensive line help. I think the trenches are where you hope. I'll revise what I said earlier. If you can get an impact rookie in the trenches and an impact free agent in the trenches, I think the Lions could be well on their way to actually doing that worst to first. Because it's not like it would shock anybody if they did that. It's not like they need to have a draft and free agency like, say, the New England Patriots did and the Chicago Bears did. They just need to be smart with who they acquire, whether it be in the margins or something more splashy. Obviously, I'd like at least one something more splashy, but they also have to be smart with the draft, and they also have to be smart within the margins. But overall, the trenches.
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger probably off-season question marks is like the Tyler Lindenbaum stuff with the Ravens. Like, are you going to go spend and get that? I think the big move for me, Flannel, is the Taylor Decker. What happens with Taylor Decker? Because if he retires, then you save money. If he comes back, you're kind of in a tough position. But either way, you're kind of in the same – I guess you're in a better position, but you still have to draft for his replacement. I mean, if he retires, you're in the same position as you were with Frank, where you're going to draft a rookie left tackle and he's going to start. So you don't have anyone waiting. Giovanni Manu's not that good, so that's just the reality. But where are you at least from the quarterback perspective? Because that was a big thing coming out of just the offseason, and I still see it, with Jared Goff. I know he played very well, but where are you at with just the future with Jared? Because, again, if you restructure Jared, you're going to save money, but it also keeps him in Detroit for longer. And some people are cool with that, don't really mind it. I don't mind Jared. I think he's a really good quarterback. I don't think he's, Josh Allen or an elite quarterback, but some people want a more mobile quarterback. If they see where the league's going, they like that type of quarterback. Where are you at with Jared Goff and the urgency to find the future or take a draft somebody to replace him? Are you cool with Jared? Where are you at?
Well, this is going to sound like I'm saying three different things, but all three things can be true. Number one, Jared Goff is our quarterback. He's not perfect, but if you insulate him enough, he can be really effective and deadly. And he's even shown with the Lions that he can perform very well in the postseason, i.e. 2023. I also think that if the Lions don't restructure and he has this ginormous cap hit for the next couple of years, it's going to be very, very hard for the Lions to keep up with the Joneses and win the Super Bowl. But I'm also not super crazy about being on the hook for him guaranteed for 4 years if they restructure. If you made me choose right now, I would probably say restructure, and then hopefully the Lions get back to drafting well, their core continues to play well, and Brad Holmes has better off seasons moving forward than he did this past one. But I don't think there's a perfect option. But if you ask me right now, I think they have to restructure because this is still a team. If you give them 4 cracks at it in a window, I like their odds of at least making a deep playoff run or 2. And then at that point, all bets are off.
Flannel, before we move on here, let me ask you, playoffs, who's your Super Bowl matchup and Super Bowl winner now that we kind of have another round past us?
I'm going to go with Bills-Rams, something that I said before. I think, and I hate to be this simplistic, but in every game that Josh Allen is going to play, except for the potential Super Bowl against the Rams, he's going to have a seismic quarterback advantage. In the case of, even if they played the Rams in the Super Bowl, I think he'd have a quarterback advantage. And James Cook has been one of the best backs in the league. Their offensive line has been one of the best in the league. I know they have some defensive deficiencies, but I think Josh Allen can put on the Superman cape and he can get enough from James Cook. I know their wide receiver room is thin and getting thinner, by the way, and that worries me a bit. But I think it's going to be Josh Allen in the Bills representing the AFC, and in the NFC, Rams, like I said. I think this weekend, them going into Chicago, I know that it's the bear weather and that is a thing, and it's going to be tough. And the Bears are obviously a very good team, and there's something magical about them, the way that they're never out of any games, especially this past weekend and wild card weekend. You were right, Booner. I was very, very wrong, by the way, to say that for a second time. But I think the Rams, just going into this week, I don't think the Bears corners or pass defense is going to be able to measure up to Stafford, Puka, and Devontae Adams. And then if you include the running game with Corum and Kyron Williams. And I also have the 49ers beating the Seahawks, by the way, but then the 49ers traveling to Los Angeles, and with their injuries, it's going to catch up to them, and the Rams are going to win. And when it comes to the Super Bowl, man, wouldn't that just be a box office made for TV Titanic matchup? It'd be so much fun to watch.
Hey, Flannel, I know you. I was never going to let you come in and do the show today without asking you about Kyle Whittingham and the Michigan Wolverines. I see the shirt you have on there, the flannel, the Michigan flannel you have on. How are we feeling? I know we probably talk every single day in the group chat we're in regards to this Michigan football team, and it feels like every day there's new additions, and the additions aren't like small ones. Kyle Whittingham is in there working right now, and whether it's going to be the portal or retaining who they already have, he has been killing it, it feels like. And also too, like, just to even double on top of that, one, I want to know how you feel about just the whole thing so far as a whole, but also the next step of it with Underwood, the fact that they didn't have a quarterbacks coach working with Sherrone Moore, didn't have anyone working with Underwood. Like, that was one of the most insane things, Flannel, that I've ever seen in my life, that they had no quarterback coach in there. And now all of a sudden Kyle Whittingham has brought that in. What are your thoughts on this whole thing here at Michigan?
Well, Kyle Whittingham is everything that Sherrone Moore isn't. Kyle Whittingham is experienced. Kyle Whittingham has had a lot of success. Kyle Whittingham is an adult in the room, and I hope that he doesn't have the type of demons that Sherrone Moore did. I mean, Sherrone Moore, don't get me wrong, at the time he was hired, I supported it mostly because I was in my national championship high. If I would have been thinking correctly, I probably would have been like, yeah, this guy's unqualified, and he's shown to be that. And this whole malfeasance with Bryce Underwood not having a quarterback coach, I don't know how they were able to get away with it for a full season. And I think that also could explain why Bryce Underwood in the season, he had a bunch of good games early, like New Mexico, Central Michigan, Wisconsin, Washington. It looked like his trajectory and development was going upwards. And then mid-season, he kind of fell off a cliff. He was turning the football over more. He had under 100 yards passing against Michigan State and Ohio State, which is completely unacceptable. Like that's the type of stuff that I'm not saying that it's all because he didn't have a quarterback coach, but now that you know that he didn't have one, it's like, man, I wonder if Bryce Underwood could have been developed a little bit better. And as far as going into this season, it's huge that Bryce is still there. It's huge that Andrew Marsh is still there. Jordan Marshall, obviously bringing in Savion Hyder. They're bringing back a lot of their key offensive line pieces. You look at their secondary with some of the transfer portal gets they've been getting, bringing back Zeke Berry, bringing back Jair Hill. I'd still like them to do more on the defensive line and the linebacker room. But so far, I really like the way that Kyle Whittingham has attacked this offseason so far. And I think he's exactly what Michigan needs to move on from all of this scandal and all of this mess, to bring in an adult in the room who is going to get things done, and he's going to be an adult about it. It's not going to be a circus. I'm very, very happy with what I've seen this offseason, and I have like a rejuvenation for Michigan football. I was pretty down after that Sherrone Moore shit came out because it was just
I think we all were, Flan. That was tough, man.
Embarrassing. It just made us look so bad. It made the university, on top of other things, a laughing stock. And now they're respected again because that's the type of cachet that Kyle Whittingham has. He's the perfect coach, I think, to get them through these next 5 or 6 years. And wouldn't shock me at all if they came home with another ring within that window. And we're constantly competing, making the playoffs, getting 10 wins, et cetera, et cetera.
Damn, Michigan football's back, man. You guys must just be fucking thrilled. I mean, Kyle Whittingham, he's a great coach. I mean,
pumped up, dude.
Actually, didn't he just go get one of the Chiefs coaches? I think he just grabbed one of those guys too.
Oh, I didn't even mention what the coaches.
Dude.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that. And that could be as important as anything.
He's filling out a great coaching staff, so he's doing a great job over there. Flannel, we appreciate the hell out of you, my friend. You guys can follow Flannel on X at Flannel_Sam. Check out what he's doing. Flannel, we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
There you go.
See you, Flannel. Love you, brother.
Sam joining the show, chopping it up with the fellas. Get your mailbag questions ready. We will get to that as well. I see people in the chat. We're talking about the Texans defense and the Texans. I still believe, by the way, before we get to mailbag, get your questions ready. Texans, when you have a defense like that, if you told me the Texans are going to be in the Super Bowl, I would not be surprised. The Texans, I mean, I had them as a sleeper for a while. I think because the defense can keep them in games, bro. This weekend, I'm so excited. This is going to be such a great weekend for NFL football. There's some
dude, I think this whole playoffs in general has been incredible.
I think the Texans are going to beat the Patriots this weekend.
I don't think so. Nico Collins out. I just don't think offensively they have enough. You got to think, though, what you got to think, Jeff, and I'll just be honest, I do think that defense is incredible. The Patriots defense is really good as well. The Texans, man, the Steelers lost that game, and I know it looked like a blowout, but when I was watching that game, it really got blown out because of the 2 defensive touchdowns. I don't think the Patriots are going to give up defensive touchdowns like that. I don't think that's they're better than the Steelers offense by a mile. And the Texans offense did nothing versus Steelers, virtually nothing. CJ Stroud, Jeff, threw a pick and fumbled the ball 5 times.
Yeah, the turnovers. I mean, they moved the ball.
So it's but if they do that versus the Patriots, they're going to lose by 2 touchdowns. And that's because the Steelers to the Patriots, it's different, dude. You can't make those mistakes versus the Patriots. I think just all year they've made mistakes like that at times when and I think versus the Patriots, I think the Patriots will take advantage of it. It's in New England too. I got to go the Patriots this week. I know we're doing pick 'em tomorrow, but I get you though. The defense, I'm right there. I understand what you're saying.
And they got some.
I understand.
Sneaky receivers over there, like Christian Kirk went for 144 yards last week. So they got some dudes over there that make some plays, man. I don't know. It'll be a good game. It'll be a really good game. And then what is it? Josh Allen versus the Broncos. That's another one.
It's going to be a matchup for Josh Allen, man. You got to win that one. That's the Broncos, dude. They just find ways to win too. So, what's the spread on that, by the way, too?
I want to know what the spread is in general in these games.
We can name them. I know we got to pick them tomorrow, but I can get you at least the spread for now.
Well, I gotta at least know ahead of time.
Now, the Bills are underdogs.
Yeah,
it's almost a pick 'em. I mean, the Broncos are 1.5 point favorites. Let's do this. Close your chat out real quick. Okay. I don't want you to see anything. Name the line. Texans, Patriots in New England.
3.5.
You're Patriots. Right on. Three, not 3.5. 3 Patriots. What about this one? 49ers, Seahawks in Seattle.
Dude, Sam Darnold's questionable.
I know, but he said he's going to play. I think
he's going to play, but that's so random.
I think the story was that he was there. He was doing something at practice, and I think he was throwing routes. They do the routes, and he said he felt something in his oblique, or it was either his oblique or his shoulder. I don't know. I think it might have been his shoulder. He said he felt something, and then he said he said he was just being cautious. He was like, I just want to be safe. He was like, I don't know if anything happened, but he said he was like, I'm just going to be cautious. So he was like, I went and got treatment instead of kept throwing.
I'll go. I think Seattle's obviously the favorite. I think it's close though. I almost want to go 3 points again because I think it's kind of a similar line, but I'll go a little more given the injuries. I'll go it is a divisional game though. I'm gonna go with 3 again. 2.5.
Wrong.
What is it?
7.
Holy shit.
It's a touchdown. I almost take the 49ers. 49ers they just stay in it. And then the last one, Rams Bears. What do you think it is? In Chicago, by the way.
Rams are favorites in that game. I did see this line earlier this week, though.
Okay,
but I can't remember what it was. It was I think it was 4.5.
It's 3.5. So you're
okay,
kind of.
So I'm not
close.
kind of.
Keep those in mind for tomorrow for pick 'em, man. You go 4-0. Caleb goes 0-4.
Yeah, I can see. Caleb, I'm trying to get an early read on what he's going to do.
He
'Cause
texted me today.
What'd he say?
Well, he just texted me. He said, "Hey, what's up, Boone?" And I said, "So what's up, brother?" And I go like, "What do you like?" He just randomly texted me, like, "You need something and everything good?" And he goes, "I just want to say hi." And then 2 seconds later, he goes, "What's the pick'em record?" I was like, "Oh, so you just wanted the pick'em record?" I was dying, but I told him, I said, "You're probably locked in at second." I didn't give the record yet. I got to go through and make sure I have the correct record still, but he feels pretty safe. He beat you by 1 last week. You were down 4, so it's 5 now. With what is it? 7 remaining. You need a miracle. You are at the point. If you stuck with your gut last week and you just went with yours, you would have obviously gained.
We would have been tied.
You would have been down 2 or 3.
No, we would have been tied.
No, because you would have.
He went 5-1. You told me.
Yeah, no. So you would have been at 4.
It would have been still 4, but it would have been better. It would have been.
You
better.
wouldn't have had to fade him. You're at the point now. You have to fade every pick. You do. Because you essentially need him to go 0-4, and you need to go 4-0, and you're only down. Then you're only down 1.
It sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you have to fade every pick. You no longer control your destiny. You now are just. You need to like pray to the gods that Caleb loses he goes 0-7 to end the year, and you faded him and go 7-0. Or honestly, Jeff,
I have a feeling I'm going to pick.
You could. I'll tell you what.
What?
You could fade every pick, and if he goes 2-5, which he has gone on those runs where he's gone 2-5, if he goes 2-5 to end the year,
and I go
you guys would be, and you would, if you faded every pick, you would go 5-2, and you technically would be tied with him, and then we'd have to figure out a tiebreaker.
Would be insane, bro.
I think that's literally, bro. Unless you have a different strategy, I think that's the only way that you can catch him is you fade every pick and hope that he just has like the worst last 7 games of his career.
I have a feeling I'm going to rock with the Broncos tomorrow. I have a feeling I'm going to rock with the Bears. I have a feeling I'm going to rock with probably the Seahawks. Or probably 49ers. I can see Caleb.
But those aren't bad. Like any way you look at it,
no, it's not bad.
Anything could happen, dude.
No,
anything could happen.
Like
you know how easy it is to go. Like, yeah, we both went 5-1 last week. It's harder to go. Like it's easier to go 1-5. Like he could go 1-3, and then you're only down. If he goes 1-3 and you go 3-1, then you're only down 3. Like, dude, you're not dead. You're not dead.
Hey, I appreciate you, bro.
Like you don't have the E in the standings. You do not have the E next to your name. You do not have eliminated yet.
It's like the Bengals when they were like 4-9 or 4-8, and people are like, well, they're not out technically. And it's like
they could win 10 straight.
Oh man. Yeah.
You just don't. The only problem is you just don't have any. You don't have any wiggle room to pick the same game.
How many games do we have this weekend? What is it? 4?
4. And then you have 2 next weekend and then 1 for the Super Bowl. I would love it. Like my dream scenario.
I go 4-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then he goes 0-4. Like then you're only down 1 with 3 remaining. Like
now it gets uncomfortable. It gets uncomfortable.
My dream scenario, honestly. And you know me, I'm like the biggest. I love the content. Like I would rather like all of us like suffer and have good content. My dream scenario is going into the Super Bowl and you guys are somehow tied. Like that would be incredible, incredible. And you guys have to pick. Like I don't even know who you guys would have to pick first. Like who gets to pick first to choose the side. But whatever side each of you are on, like I couldn't imagine you guys are like fully invested because you don't want to do
like we're both in this shit.
You don't want to do the McDonald's challenge and it's like I'm all in on the Rams or I'm all in on like if that happens we are buying gear for both of you on each team and whoever you gotta rock the gear and everything.
Wow.
That's like my like dream scenario. I want Caleb to go 0-4 this week and you go to 4-0 and then we move into like
that's incredible. Mr. Ray says, you know what happened? Pistons won again. So your double parlay missed.
No, it hit. It hit. Dude, by the way, Cade was at 7 points, and then he gets a bucket, goes to 9. I tell you, I had the game on here throughout the show. He was missing like every layup, every mid-range, every shot he took, he just could not. He went like 2 for like 17. 2 minutes left, a minute and a half left. They're in the bonus. He goes to the line, Jeff. He gets hit for an and one. Easy and one layup. Rolls out. And it was like, oh, he missed another shot. Goes to the line, Jeff. Goes 0 for 2. Next possession, gets to the line. Goes 1 for 2. He had 4 free throws, went 1 for 4 in his last 4 free throws. And just hit 10 on the dot.
Got the 10. He had 10 assists.
11 or 12, yeah. I think that's his lowest scoring game in like 2 or 3 years. I think he's hurt. He had his wrist taped up.
Damn.
So, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, we'll have we're gonna get Sean on tomorrow. I'm gonna reach out. We'll talk some Pistons trade deadline tomorrow. That'll be good content because the Pistons they keep just doing special things and they deserve attention. So we're gonna talk about them. Don't worry. Yeah, they took care of the Suns tonight after losing to the Clippers.
It's so funny to me. The Suns, their owner obviously owns UWM.
Yeah, Matt Ishbia.
Yeah, he owns UWM. So like he owns the Suns. He's in the building, like sitting courtside, and like UWM sponsors a bunch of stuff for the Pistons. I think they're not on their shirt or their jersey anymore, but like he's sitting in seats and it's like all the sponsors are UWM. It's like his company sponsors all this Piston stuff, but he owns a different NBA team. It's just really weird to me. It's a weird concept.
Yeah, and he's put a lot of money into that team, bro. He put a lot of money into that team.
Yeah.
He really did. ETN says Jeff's that 1-4-8 team that's still somehow in the hunt.
By the way, did we answer any mailbag questions? Did we have some? I feel bad.
No, there wasn't.
Okay. It just hit me. Kyle Tucker went to the Dodgers.
Are you serious?
Oh my gosh, bro.
Oh, yep. Just got it. Just got the notification.
It's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
And then if they get Scooble, oh my gosh.
Anakin, appreciate the 5. Sheila's the baby of 3-4. It's typically the youngest gets the least from the will. Sheila's dad was the youngest grandson. That's how the money works. Yeah, $2 billion.
She got the Lions.
Yeah, and you got $2 billion. So
yeah,
it's a lot of money. Okay.
And an NFL football team. That's pretty sick. I bet you she could sell the Lions for like $10 billion.
Dude, you see the Dolphins owner denied like like double-digit million. It was like 18 or something. 15?
Billion?
Yeah. Or billion.
Yeah, dude. NFL franchises are billions now. It's crazy.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll chop it up. Any breaking news, you guys know where to go. It's Crunch Time Sports. Hit the subscribe button, like button on the stream. Follow us on social media. It's all in the description. Get your merchandise. officialctsports.com. We'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Mike McDaniel.
Arthur Smith.